I don't believe that pregnancy is an accident. Like, I hate that word when people are like, oh, well, that kid is an accident. Nobody's an accident. That's divine intervention. You were meant to be here, you know? And so it's just that experience kind of just changed my mindset on that altogether, because it was meant to happen. I was offered a trip by someone I was seeing at the time to go to Mexico at a resort. It was an all-inclusive resort, and I was allowed to bring myself and someone else. And none of my friends had passports, so I went by myself. And I got extremely inebriated at the bar and had to be wheeled back to my hotel room. And I just woke up to him on top of me, him being the guy that I was seeing at the time. So it was a shock to me, but I passed right back out, and I was naked and I didn't fall asleep naked. And I know that the hotel people wouldn't have, done that. But with him laying next to me, I kind of just knew. And I'm so ashamed to say it now, but I was instantly like, abortion. Like, especially because of the circumstances that it was in, I didn't feel like I would be able to love a child in that circumstance. And I was in college, so it wasn't the right time. It was not the right time, or so I thought. I immediately pulled up Planned Parenthood because that's just something that I've heard. This is peak COVID, honestly, and everything's still shut down. And I noticed that the parking lot was a bit empty, which was odd. And when I walked up out of the car, or walked up to the door, I noticed that there were chains around the building. I didn't understand, and I kind of just felt like the universe was laughing at me. Once it hit me that I would have to find another option, I Googled the next, or I honestly just put in Women's Health Center, and The Source was the first thing that popped up, which is now Women to Women. I was met with a beautiful smile, a friendly face, which was what I needed at the time. And I felt just a little bit of relief just to see someone that wasn't judging me. I met with Arlene, and she prayed for me. And at that point in my life, I'm not gonna say that I wasn't a religious person, but I wasn't deep into my faith. And just having someone who didn't know me from a can of paint care enough to pray for me, take the time out. It just shows you that there are people out there that, they're rooting for you. So after praying, I was taken back to a room, and I was given a pregnancy test. It was confirmed that I was pregnant. I was then given a sonogram. She said that because it was hard to see it, that I would need to go into like a emergency room so they can confirm that's what it was, but she did say that it looked like an ectopic pregnancy. I went to UT Southwestern, and they also confirmed that it was an ectopic pregnancy. The physician advised me that because I was so young, and he didn't want to jeopardize me losing a fallopian tube, that he would just give me an abortion shot is what they call it. After administering the shot to me, he told me just bed rest for the next 2 weeks, and that I should start bleeding, and if it's too much blood, come back into the ER. At the time, it wasn't hitting me yet that this is something that's serious. It was Friday around 11:40 p.m. I was on the phone with a friend. We were just goofing around, and the pain hit me like that. I was nauseous, I wanted to throw up, hot, sweaty, starting to get confused and dizzy, and it was to the point where I felt like I was dying. I called 911, and I had to crawl to open the door. At that point, I could not walk anymore. And so when they opened the door, I'm literally looking up at them, and still thinking that they're gonna judge me. They were so admirable and just so sufficient in their jobs. They immediately got my vitals, got me going, and before I could think about it, we were already on our way to the hospital. At that point, my left fallopian tube had already ruptured, and there was so much blood they couldn't see anything, and I was in so much pain that I couldn't sit still long enough for them to be able to see anything. So they rushed me to emergency surgery. I don't even remember that part. I woke up, and there's a physician next to me, and he was telling me that the baby had gotten to the size of a ping pong ball. And he said I had 1 liter of blood in my stomach. you only have 2 to 3 liters of blood in your body. And so he was like, had you waited maybe 5, 10 more minutes, you wouldn't have made it. God works in strange ways, right? I'm very hard-headed, so I feel as though that was him trying to just kind of get me back on track. And I know a lot of people won't be able to understand that, but God knows us better than we know ourselves, you know? And so I feel like he just knew that it was gonna take something extreme to kind of get me to wake up, you know, and kind of come back to him. I'm really glad that that is what happened. And I'm really glad that I was able to meet the women that worked at Women to Women, because I understand they weren't the surgeon or, you know, things like that, but they were there when no one else was. The first contact that I had, and they restored my faith, essentially. These are women who are of God. These are women who genuinely care. I genuinely believe that they're doing God's work. If I had a friend who was pregnant and didn't know what they wanted to do at that time, I would honestly refer them to Women. I would first of all give them my opinion on it and let them know that God doesn't make mistakes. That baby's here for a reason. Don't end that life. It's just not worth it. The pain and the heartache that you go through, the what ifs that you go through for the rest of your life, I don't think it's worth it. And there's so many other options after having the baby, you know, so having a kid or becoming pregnant is not the end of the world. It's honestly a beginning, a good beginning.